Okay, here is the video notes for environmental chemistry. And so we're looking at topic 1, a hair-raising dilemma. Some terms that you need to know if you'll add these in. Ingestion is where you take in food. Digestion is where you break down the food. And absorption is like in your intestines where the food gets absorbed. And excretion is like when you urinate or you poop out the waste. Now, you're made of chemicals, as is your food. The process of digestion breaks your food into smaller, soluble molecules, which then pass through the membranes and into your blood vessels. In the blood, these chemicals, nutrients, they circulate to all the cells where it's used for growth, repair, and energy. Now, there's four types of organic nutrients that can be classified. Now, in order to be organic, it has to have the element carbon and hydrogen. It has to have both of them. So we have carbohydrates. That's your energy source for metabolism. That's found in rice, grains, potatoes, fruits. Everyday energy, that's your carbs that you're eating. Protein, that's the structural molecule for your body, and it helps control chemical reactions. Okay, and so this is found in meats and eggs and dairy products, legumes, nuts, and you need these proteins for muscles and also for enzymes and also for cell structure. You also need to get a certain amount of lipid in your body. Lipids used, for storage, but it also cushions your organs. Your brain is like 70% fat, which is lipid, and so you need to have some of this every day, about 2 tablespoons. It's found in vegetable oils, nut oils, some dairy products, meat. I find that my diet has so much hidden fat in it that I don't even have to worry about it. And carbohydrate, same thing as well. I do have to worry about proteins because sometimes we tend to eat more vegetarian diets, and sometimes my protein level gets to be too low. And then there is vitamins. That's the fourth organic nutrient. So on the next page, vitamins are required for proper function. You don't need a whole lot of it. They're an essential component of enzymes that help speed up chemical reactions in our body. So if you don't have enough vitamin, then your enzymes don't work as well, and you tend to have slower chemical process, which means you'd have less energy. You got to be careful with your vitamins. Make sure you don't take too much of them. Some of them are okay. There's water-soluble ones. If you take too much of it, you'll just pee it out. I think vitamin B is like that. If you take too much of it, your urine just goes all bright yellow and it comes out of your body. And then there's other ones that are fat-soluble, and you want to be careful about those ones because they get stored in your fat and used when needed. But if you take too much of it, it could build up and become toxic to you. You also need minerals, okay, and sometimes you need just a little bit amount. That's the trace elements, less than 100 milligrams per day. And then sometimes you need a lot of it, and that would be where you need 100 milligrams per day or more. And here is a list of all the different minerals that you need in your body. I mean, some of these are very common and you should know. So like calcium, you should know that one. It's crucial in nerve conduction, muscle contraction, blood clotting. You probably know mostly that's used for bones and teeth. Sodium, an important one, helps regulate your nervous system. Potassium helps regulate nervous signals and muscle activity. It's involved in protein formation. It's needed for acid-base balance. What else you should know? Iron. Iron's an important one. Crucial part of red blood cells. That helps carry your oxygen around. And if you don't get enough iron in your diet, or if you're iron deficient, you'll be lethargic and sluggish because you're not getting enough oxygen going around your system. Iodine, major component of thyroid hormones, which regulates metabolism. That's another one that you should know. Fluorine, you already know, helps put calcium on your teeth. And then, of course, stories of people like people who went on the ocean for a long time, they didn't get enough vitamin C. They would get scurvy or their bones become weak. The British sailors were really smart. They figured this out, and they knew lime is a very good source of vitamin C. So whenever they came into port, the British sailors would run in and buy every single lime, and that's where the nickname limeys came from. On the Apollo 15 mission, the astronauts developed irregular heartbeats. They analyzed their food when they came back. It turns out there wasn't enough potassium in it, so they started putting potassium in astronaut food so that they would not have these irregular heartbeats. Now, you have a couple of choices. If you need to get all your minerals, you could eat like a bag of dirt a day, or you could find something that magnifies it. Now, plants, specifically the roots, are really good at taking the minerals out of the soil and trapping them either in the leaves or the root or in the stem, and we can get the minerals that way. Okay, and you'll notice the 3, oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, greater percent in living things because that's what makes things organic. Well, the carbon and the hydrogen part anyways. Okay, and then analyzing this chart, there's some questions at the bottom that says, which plant elements are present greater amounts in plants and which ones are present in animals. And it's just really your ability to read this chart. You could see for oxygen in the Earth's crust, there's only 49%, but in plants and in humans, 75 and 65%, there is a lot of it. Now, without plants, we wouldn't be able to get the nutrients we need. This is why we are very interested in how plants grow. So the next topic deals with fertilizer. And with fertilizer, there's always 3 numbers, NPK, in that order. I don't know if you've checked out when you buy fertilizer for your lawn or for your garden. There's always 3 numbers on it. The N part is for nitrogen. That affects the leaves. Phosphorus affects the roots. That's the second number, the middle number. And then the last number, K, is for potassium. That affects the flowers. So the nitrogen is absorbed in the form of nitrates. It's dissolved in water. And the nitrates are formed by nitrogen being fixed by bacteria into ammonia. And then other species change it. And once again, the nitrogen affects the leaves. The phosphorus is absorbed in the form of phosphate, PO4 3-. That affects the roots. And then potash, the main source of minerals. So if I wanted to make my lawn nice and green, this fertilizer here, 2177, would work, right? 21% affects the leaves. It'll give me a little bit of root growth, a little bit of flowering. If I was going to try and make my roses grow, I'd probably go like 7721 because the last number affects the flowers. If I had a brand new lawn, I need the roots to take place, I'd probably go 7217 because the middle number would then affect root growth. Okay, and sorry, the joke about strawberries, that's for in class. Issues emerging from high productivity. Since the 1950s, we've been able to double our yield of crops using fertilizers and GMOs and high yield food crops. Okay, so genetic engineering, artificial selection, which we learned about in the first unit. And the crops are very, very uniform. But the problem with that, of course, is it's expensive. It takes a lot of fertilizer and water. Planting one crop over and over again increases the chance of disease spreading, right? Because there's low biodiversity. The chemical agents, once again, pesticides reduce disease, but they're expensive. They have an environmental impact as well. But I'm not saying we move away from this. We need food. We need these crops. We need these processes to generate enough food for the whole planet, but we need to be careful about that as well. At this point in time, we would do page 186, number 1 to 5 in full sentences. And so here's some check your knowledge questions. If you want deep roots, which of the NPK would be higher? That would be the middle number. If you want large, beautiful roses, you'd have the last number would be the highest. If you want a nice dark lawn, you'd want the first number to be highest. Okay, and then at this point in time, you could stop and do page 186, numbers 1 to 5. And so that is part 1 of the video notes.